Hello, beautiful, vibrant souls. I'm so glad that we could come together today. We will pull some cards for the collective and see what messages Spirit has for us. As always, some of these cards will resonate and some of them may not. Here we have, starting off with our Fool, new opportunities to look at things in a different fashion. But with this reminder that we also have to take things with a grain of salt. It's not supposed to be all serious all the time. And if we look at every new situation that comes our way with the same heaviness with which we looked at our past, we're not giving it an opportunity to play out in a new way. I'm getting that if you have a perception about individuals that are being introduced into your path, and you have experience with people that there's particularly some characteristics that remind you of this person, and you're reflecting back on those particular characteristics and thinking, well, it means that they're this way. We're not giving that situation a full opportunity to play out. And this is an opportunity for us to move forward in our path. This is the beginning of a new pathway, a new cycle for us to embark upon, and Spirit's putting these people on our path to learn from them, to experience something. There's something here for us that we haven't particularly had before, something new to gain from it. But if we're not careful, we're going to use our some getting like some bitterness or some resentment from something. They're kind of reminding you of something. I'm thinking in particular of a person that I've been introduced to that has some very similar characteristics from somebody who hurt me very deeply, and my initial resistance to this person could have thrown me off path, but I decided to try to leave the feelings open, because they are not that person. Because they have a few similarities does not mean they are that person. In fact, this person does seem and has opened themselves up to try to have uh, an open pathway of communication with me. That wasn't something that I experienced with that other person. So I'm automatically, just by giving it an opportunity to be different, it's different. So we're looking at things with this different way. We have our Tower card again with this new cycle. Some things have to crumble in order for new things to crop up in their place. Our old ideas about the situation are no longer going to benefit us going forward. These are the things that we have to let go of. It's not just about whole situations. I never become fearful of the Tower. The Tower is just an indication that something I'm doing is not going to work in the future, that something that I've clung to is outdated. When things feel uncomfortable, when things don't feel like they're going the right way, that's when your Tower card comes up and says it's time for something new. Take the things that work for you and use them, but don't hold on to them as if they're the only things that can possibly work in this situation. There's so many things to experience in this world. You're not going to possibly experience all of them. And you're certainly not going to get a chance to experience new things if you continually do things the exact same way and you have the same mindset about them. I cannot tell you how many times my views on current events have shifted with time and experience. You have probably realized that the person that you were 10 years ago is not the person that you are today. That's what the Tower represents. It's growth. It's an opportunity to get rid of things that don't work anymore, that you've outgrown, that you've learned better, that you've had experiences that shifted your perspective, or that it's time to have some experiences that shift your perspective. It's time to allow those experiences to give you an opportunity to look at things with new eyes, with those new baby eyes, like the Fool. Our Eight of Swords diving into a situation and feeling as though there is some clarity, some intellectual clarity. You've seen some of these situations before. There is some interference that somebody is causing. As soon as we bring attention to this, as soon as we recognize that some people are dealing with situations only from the place that they're capable of dealing with it doesn't bother us as much. This person can only operate from the capacity that they can operate from, that they have experience with. It might be annoying. Also, it's an opportunity for you to use your intelligence, your experience, your wisdom to look at that situation and say, "Ah, I see what that is," and not allow it to interfere. And on that same note, you can then make a better choice about which way to progress. We want to go through these situations with as much, with as smooth of a journey as possible, but it just simply isn't going to give us any advantage to that. We need that conflict here and there to give us some perspective and to kind of broaden our horizons in the way that we think about things. So these three combination of cards is asking us to look at cycles differently so that we don't continue to repeat them, so that we can progress rather than feel like we're just kind of in that hamster wheel going through situations over and over again. Use that intellect that you've gained and see what's there and then recognize that it doesn't have to interfere with you at all. It's your choice to allow something to affect you. You really don't have to do that. So with our very strong fire energy here, that Leo energy we're dealing with here is about overcoming the situation by making more conscious direct choices. These two cards also kind of reiterating and backing up the message that has just happened in these three tarot cards. We've got courage and we've got purpose. You understand that there is a certain um, goal that you feel compelled. Everyone here in this life feels compelled to accomplish something. There's something that interests them. It might not happen when you're a teenager. Sometimes it takes years and years for it to really hit home with you. I remember being a teenager and having kind of this inclination that I wanted to be of service to humanity and in an intellectual capacity. I didn't have the details behind that, but over time, I started to realize that this was actually something that I was very good at. And years later, I still felt compelled to work in this manner, recognizing later that in order to be taken seriously, I had to do some pretty drastic stuff. In fact, it almost felt like I needed to play catch up until I remembered that there's no such thing as catching up. Everything's in divine timing. I wouldn't be at the level that I'm at today if I had tried to embark upon it back then. It would have gone a different way. It's going the way that it's supposed to go. But it still took me realizing that this was not something that everyone was going to understand or be able to relate to. This was something very specific for what I needed to do for myself. It felt right for me. It was the kind of decision that other people were going to have opinions about and not necessarily supportive ones. There's people that are going to feel insecure about their own choices or lack of choices to do what makes them happy. There's going to be people that think that you're not qualified, and that's just a projection of themselves. So, with this card, courage, and with this card, purpose, we're talking about pursuing what it is that you feel is right for you against all odds, against what anyone has to say or think about the matter. You literally have to put yourself in a little bubble and say, what do I want? And anytime a well, so we have to block that out and we have to really dig deep and get into who we ourselves want to be, who we ourselves feel we are naturally, who we are becoming, who we are ultimately meant to be, what we are meant to do in this world, in this life, and pursue it relentlessly. You have to give it your all. You have to never stop. You have to always have your goal in sight. We might have side quests that we have to accomplish, and you will realize throughout time that those side quests only add to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. It doesn't necessarily make sense in the moment when we have to take time away from work or from school to tend to another human being in some capacity, or uh, if we have to take time away from our pursuing our goals to address some financial situation. We will always find that these side quests, these little detours, are meant to add to us obtaining that final purpose and that goal and reaching what it is that we wanted to reach. It's not going to necessarily make sense right now. It's definitely not going to make sense to other people. There's going to be a lot of people that might be very confused. And in fact, those are the people that we need to just hold them in love. Say, I appreciate you having this opinion about the situation, but I can't let that bother me. I have to be who I am. I have to do what makes sense for me. Yes, I know you think that my marriage is perfect. For me, it's not. Yes, I know that you think that I'm so good at my job, but this isn't what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. I know you think I should be retired now, but I want to pursue more education. I know that you think that I should be something or someone that you have this notion of, but that's not who I am. And it does take courage, because standing up to people that love you and do have the best interest in mind, they don't want you to be miserable and fail. They just don't understand what it is that triggers a person to either shift gears or choose something for themselves or choose something different. They only have that outside perspective of what's been happening in your life, and they're gauging it off of that. The difficult part comes when there's no words to truly explain it. You can't really articulate to them what it is that you're feeling and thinking. You just have to ask them to trust you. If they truly love you, they will do that. And if they don't and they still have these opinions, then these are the people that we have to really give the most amount of love to and say, I appreciate your concern, but I'm not going to sit here and waste time explaining it to you. But thank you. We just pulled touching earth, planting something new, and take a leap of faith. So I'm getting very strongly from spirit that you are being called to embark upon a new path, or to embark upon your purpose, or to divert from the life that you were living before in order to pursue something that you are just called to so deeply you can't let it go. It doesn't necessarily make sense to other people. As we've talked about in these last readings, the cards are indicating that you have to dig deep into your own experiences, your own wisdom, and your own perception of things, and make choices based on that without recognizing or without allowing your attention to be diverted, or uh, to be distracted, or to be detoured from what it is that you know and feel within you. The grasshopper spirit is take a leap of faith. There is no clear path for anyone, but in your case especially, it feels like a risk. It feels like, what if? And you can think of a million different situations that could take place, and yet you dream about it, can't let go of this idea. You feel very strongly compelled to do something in your life. It might be very different from what you've been doing. it might not make sense to others. For some, I'm getting this is about returning to school or a career change or perhaps starting that small business or taking that leap into pursuing your small business full time. Do we know how we're going to get there? No, we don't. I can think personally right now that I have no clear, laid out, trodden path that is easily marked for me to follow to obtain my goal because it feels very much as though no one has done this before me in this exact way. That I'm creating a path for myself, and therefore what in front of me is just a blank slate. But do I know that it's the right thing for me? Yes. Everything in my being says that this is right. All of the signs from the universe are reinforcing my decisions. I keep getting these synchronicities, these confirmations, other people that I've never met before explaining to me that they are drawn to me. They don't understand why, but they feel very much called to what it is that I'm doing. I'm seeing the result. I'm seeing the end goal so crystal clear, but the path there doesn't make sense. I cannot overthink each step of the way. I just have to do what feels right. Yes, it's new. It's nobody's ever done it before. This is something very different for you. It doesn't make sense to others. Other people are not going to necessarily agree with it. They don't understand what you're trying to accomplish. It's not your job to explain it. As much as we want people to understand, and I can tell you from experience that there's so many years of my life were devoted to helping people understand me, realizing now that there's just no point in that. It doesn't do me any good if someone else understands me. The only thing that matters is that I understand myself, that I understand my personal journey, that I understand the mission that I'm on and where I'm headed and what my goals are. I personally am on a path that hasn't been done before. Not exactly in this way, not in anyone that I've known. So therefore, I do have to trust what I feel. I do have to do what seems right. I have to trust my own intuition. I have to figure out what's the way to get through this. And there might be a lot of different methods, but my method and the way that I do it is the only thing that I can trust. You're going to have to do it your own way, and you're going to have to do so with a level of confidence that seems almost unreal to other people. But I believe in you and I believe in what you feel. And I know that you can feel it and you can trust it and you can go forward with these messages of confirmation. Thank you for joining me on this journey of healing. Much love to you.